Yeah, thank you so much for staying on in this presentation. We have been looking at a demonstration of MCR principle and practices using the MCR investigation part and a case study or a stage play, a critical moment. We've gone through how to configure the MCR investigation part, and I've been able to show certain new feature on the investigation part. And we have actually gone through the default compromise score, where we basically look at or investigated for the present or absent of the variables on the MCR investigation part, not really concerned about the natural lifestyle or acquiring or life orientation lifestyle or developed lifestyle. And then there we have looked at compromise score and maturity score. We actually use the dominant character, the cast, Mr. Sunday, to look for the maturity score. So now we want to look out for natural lifestyle. And for us to be able really to discuss fully what we mean by natural lifestyle, let's go back and consider a critical moment in the play. If you remember, we discussed this in one of the discussion. So we have outlined 5, and we may include Mrs. Sunday's lifestyle too. So we have Mr. Sunday's ordeal at home and our office. Obviously, the first one has gone for the maturity score, and then the next one, his boss flirting around him. We want to look at the boss. We want to consider the boss on the natural lifestyle, and then we want to consider the church members decisively avoiding persecution. From what we may perceive, this 1 and 2, they are individuals who are experiencing whatever they did in that encounter for the first time. That is why we could see their nature of failure. What we say, well, would we say the boss having that kind of life, or people having that kind of life have been living like that, and we could say they are not developed? Well, we will assume that is a natural lifestyle. In a while we'll explain why it's a natural lifestyle, because we could really begin to suspect. Well, come to think of it, we may not really think of the boss flitting around as a natural lifestyle. She could have other forms of she could be quite good with that. I must confess, we will move her out of there. She can't be having a natural lifestyle. We will want to discuss her under certain kind of negative lifestyle, which we're not ready to cover now. Maybe in other study we'll cover it. But for certain, the church members decisively avoiding persecution, we can put them conveniently on the natural lifestyle, and then we want to go back on the pad and see how we can stitch their lifestyle on that. We want to investigate whether what we have said is actually true. So that's what we're just going to do. So we want to look out for natural lifestyle in critical moment. And we have stated that this is a configure pad. It's a configure pad because we already have critical moment on it. And if you remember, we have gone through the compromise score, the maturity score, and we are just here on the natural, lifestyle. And we want to look at the church members. That could be probably the first time although they will appear at the church premise. And who knows, perhaps when they hear about what happened to Baba Tomiwa in the long future, they might regret and say, wow, so it was an opportunity. but for now it's the first encounter for them. So can we really say they have somebody who would have give them a tip and say, no, well, this is a test, or this is just a trap by the king? So they don't have that. So we can't really see their maturity state. They don't have teacher and student relationship, the source and normal entity relationship, though we could see them coming peer by peer, meaning peers, but really we can't really see that. So we'll be stranded. We can't really tick for their maturity state, or tick for their we are stranded here. We can't really see any for their maturity position. We can't see for their maturity position, or for their conditional relationship or maturity, or for their situational, and or for their maturity. We can't really see somebody coaching them, telling them about what they were doing. It's a denial of faith, and as we go on, probably we'll look at their right, we may not see that. So as we move on, we didn't really see people who believed in what they have covenanted themselves to do. Being a Christian means you are ready for the benefits and the pain of it. We didn't see them. They didn't really see it as something to defend, to suffer for. We didn't see them apologizing and say, oh, sorry, sir. I think they just bluntly denied their faith and went away. We didn't see any apology. Obviously, from even what they were saying, for some of us that watch the stage play, some of the things they were talking about, it was entirely out of context. So we can't really talk about a maturity content, one that is positive anyway. We can't talk about a mental deposit, a mental initiative, even though we could see certain initiative. They were talking about what they would do in the church. The pastor was busy, but we can't really see a mental initiative or a mental control. So we are basically stranded. So we can't really see one thing here in their compromise core. We can't. And then we can move on to look at their personality type. As we look at their personality type, we can only pick lost entity and extremist, especially for the pastor. The pastor was basically extreme. That's really the best approach to give the pastor. So really, we can't really. The best personality for them is a lost entity, and then extremist. That's just the way extremists behave. A lost entity have no idea what his faith is all about. An extremist will only pick good part. Worried about really being persecuted. An extremist is always self-centered. So here too we have found just probably lost entity. We take for lost entity, and then we take for extremist. Well, we'll move on, and we look at their self-esteem. Wow, we could really see that they feel the attitude of life. We could see the arrangement. They basically cherish themselves. That's human come first. Immaterial blessing not there, material blessings not there, God not there. Though we could see false belief in God and all of that, and then we move on to look at, this wasn't really discussed in the in that encounter. So we move on, and then can we really say they know what they were doing? Someone will say, yeah, they know what they are doing, but really, do they really know what they are doing? Denying God, their creator. Do they really understand what they did? Those are some of the things question we ask. So, and that's really what you get from people who are living life, who are having natural lifestyle. Do they appreciate what they did? Someone say, oh wow, they appreciate what they did, but maybe later on as they look at their life, they may really have a lot of, did they really enjoy what they did? Someone say, wow, they may enjoy what they did, but really at the long run, they may have regret about their life. Do they really see what they did? Like we are looking at, their lifestyle. Do they really see? Will they continue living like that? Will you say after their life here on earth, will you say they have lived a life? Were they impactful? Will I want to follow? Will I want to follow the way they behave, deny their faith, and won't suffer for the faith? Will you want to? These are things we find when we look at natural lifestyle. So We've gone through this. Now, we may not really need to pick any one of them. The pastor, for instance, we already could see from our compromise score that they have scanty score. They have scanty score. They have scanty score. Well, next time we'll look at acquiring life orientation or acquiring life orientation lifestyle. Thank you so much. I'll be back soon.